Welcome back to the fine print, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Caleb Teskey, and I'm back with Matt Racenet from Northeast Kannabis in Saint Johnsbury, Vermont. And Matt, before we talk about cannabis anymore, boy, you made some interesting comments about the Fairbanks Brothers there, and I was wondering if you have any history that you could share with us. I know you said you're a math nerd, but do you have any history about the Fairbanks Brothers you could share with us?
Yeah, so there's the legend of the Fairbanks Brothers is that they apparently, in the early, 1890s, they were using a suspended scale to weigh carts filled with hemp or other products. And at that time in the 1890s in Vermont, there was a big, people were growing a lot of hemp. So, weighing it with, suspending a cart in the air, is pretty dangerous nowadays. I can't imagine in the 1890s how dangerous that was. Probably inefficient, ineffective. And so Thaddeus Fairbanks decides to create the platform scale to create a more efficient way of weighing carts with products in them. So in this case, it was hemp. So they were trying to weigh hemp, whether it be for the railroads, they knew how much they were transporting, all that good stuff. They needed a platform scale to weigh that material. So, put the cart on the scale full of hemp, weigh it, roll it off, put the cart back on, empty of hemp, subtract the two, you got the weight of the hemp. So
do you think they were in any way responsible for the burgeoning of the digital scale market?
I mean, maybe. I think a case could probably be made for that. Yeah.
It seems like, Vermont's a very small state.
Yeah.
And we don't get a lot of notoriety, but it seems like there's been a lot of super innovative business owners that have come out, especially the Northeast Kingdom. Yeah. Musicians, business owners, and things of that nature. Would you?
Yeah, there's lots of talent up here. And, I think, being that we're a relatively small state, sometimes we get overlooked for stuff. And, there are, times where we have, amazing athletes, amazing artists, amazing business people, amazing ideas that come out of the state. It sometimes comes as a surprise, but for us that live here, I don't think it really comes as a surprise. We get some pretty cool people that live here.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, man. You said I was asking you about competition in the cannabis market.
Yep.
Up in Maine, I feel like we've seen a lot of dispensaries opening to the point where no one's making any money. There is so much. I had a friend tell me he could step out and see 4 other dispensaries out the door of his dispensary. What are your thoughts on competition, especially in a state this small? I mean, obviously, I'm a fan of competition. I think it's a good thing, but is there a point where it becomes too much, where no one can make any money?
Well, I think that depends on a couple of different factors. I think that it depends on, is everybody doing the same thing? I look at, to me, I'm not a big shopper to say the least, but most retail stores are all the same. To me, they look all the same. So if you end up having a bunch of dispensaries that do the same thing, I think you have that problem. I think you have a situation where people are, they just go to whichever one they normally go to because it's the one right down the street or it's the closest one to me. If you want to attract new customers, and we have the opportunity in being that it's a budding market, to really try to become that, someone's normal dispensary, to become
a budding market. Nice pun there, sir.
Thanks. So we have a plan to be different than everybody else.
Yeah. How do you set yourself apart?
So, I'm not a big gimmick guy. Like, I'm not going to put I don't really want to put like a big, wiggly arm man out front to like make it look different than everybody. I'm not talking different like that.
I'll tell you what, I'll wear the suit and I'll do it.
Wear the suit, right? I don't want one of those board spinners out front of my store, like gimmicks like that. I'm not big on those things. We want to create an experiential type of a dispensary. A little different than maybe when you go over to Maine and you walk through the front door and you get age checked and you walk right to the counter and order off a menu. you know, everybody's doing that. I'm thinking maybe we want to do something a little bit different.
You know,
So,
and I've heard some people say that it's a very impersonal experience when you walk into some of these places where they're just trying to rush you through the line so they can get the next guy in the door,
right,
because there's maybe limits on how many people you can have in at one time
right,
or something.
right.
So that's one thing that I've heard some Vermont owners talking about, is that customer service. What are your thoughts on that?
I think so. The people that I have kind of ideas, I have a couple of people that I have on a short list to come work for me, to be my bud tenders. They're both, I would call them experts in cannabis, but they're also really fun people to talk to. And I feel like that's the social barrier, that we really need to focus on the relationship with the customer, to create that, creating that an experience for them, rather than it's a shopping center. It's a walk-in. It's, we want it to be less like a pharmacy and more like a coffee shop. That type of a feel, where you're going in to see the person you see all the time. That type of thing. So it's
Where I
going to
can
be
walk in and be like, yo, give me the usual, and you
right.
know me.
Right, exactly. The idea is to have a familiar face at that security check every time you come in the door, so that you know who it is. Hey Jimmy, we got a new indica in today, like this, from this person, from that person.
Something you might like,
Right,
like
that type of thing.
yeah.
So
I know you like dark beers, and we got a stout on tap.
exactly, same type of thing. So customer service is going to be a real big thing for us.
Can we talk a little? Oh, sorry, I didn't.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
just coming from teaching, customer service is all of teaching. Your customers are your students. You have to make sure that they are being served the best of your ability. And so we want to make sure that the people that visit Northeast Kannabis get served at the best of our ability.
Do your students like you, Matt?
I would say they do. They liked me before I announced this business venture. They really enjoyed my classes. I've always had a great relationship with my students.
Do they pass the test?
They pass the tests. I do some backwards design, things like all the jargon. We could talk for days about teaching jargon.
Have you had any trouble from the school after announcing this? Because it was all in the papers.
So what I did, I went, I feel like communication's the key to, my wife and I both are teachers. So we both had to deal with this same.
Your wife as well. Yeah.
She's also a teacher. And so what we did is we went to our school systems prior to even applying for zoning and saying, hey, this is something we're doing. We've established this business.
Wow.
And been open with communication with our administrations, because the last thing I would want as a business owner is to have one of my employees have something come up in the paper that I didn't know about.
And were they receptive to that?
Absolutely. They appreciated it. They were receptive. They had conversations with us. And just
with the academy.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Howell we had a good conversation together.
Wow.
It was good.
That's awesome. I'd love to talk to him.
Her.
Okay. Him, her. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's great, man. Because I wanted to ask you if there had been any sort of pushback in the community, or I know you recently posted something about zoning issues that you were dealing. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. So do you want to talk about zoning or the post?
Let's do the zoning. We can do the other thing after.
Yeah. So with zoning, it was actually pretty. Once we went to a couple of planning commission meetings, so we started going to planning commission meetings. So they're once a month, starting in January. And so we went the first one to kind of formally give a public statement to say, this is something we want to do. This is something we're looking for.
In January.
In January. And so then they started going through and looking at what other states' bylaws were and what other towns' bylaws were and what other towns were doing. And we did the searching too. We got our hands right in the mud with them. And decided, let's go find what the state has put up out for municipality guidance.
You kind of have to, huh? Because honestly, I find sometimes you're educating those people.
Yeah, I mean, we are the people in the trenches trying to get this market off the ground. We can't, I mean, I know from experience, as everybody else who's starting to start a cannabis business in the state, it's a lot of work. It's not easy. People are wary about this because of the gray area of it being federally legal and state legal. You know, it's very, there's a lot of gray area, and people just don't know what's happening yet because it's, you know, it's happening in time, in real time.
And on top of starting a business, you're also going to these meetings and
Yeah,
extending that time to those commitments as well.
exactly.
And
You know,
I'd love to know about what you dealt with the zoning board.
yeah. So with the zoning board, you know, we you know, helped them have conversations about, you know, what type of zoning do we have. So we had a really weird zoning law in town here that referenced a Schedule I drug, and so they used a federal definition to define where you could have, you know, a methadone clinic or what have you. And so everything that fell under a Schedule I drug came under there.
Oh.
The town elected that they were going to, they decided that they weren't going to have retail cannabis fall under that Schedule I definition any longer. And so they redefined where they wanted to put it. And
Really?
yeah, that's what they did. They ended up deciding here in town. So
And the vote was very close in St. It was like 780 to 750.
yeah, it was pretty close.
It was close.
Yeah,
That was a nail biter.
yeah. I mean, in reality, there's more than 1,500 voters in the town of Saint Johnsbury.
Right, but those are the people who show up, you know.
Exactly. And fortunately, we were able to get it passed even by a narrow margin. But a pass is a pass. And so it's, you know, they saw, the zoning board saw, and we educated them, and here's the level of regulation that we're going to have. We have to have this for security. We have to have this, you know, we have to have the fire marshal's office, and we have to adhere to these things, have insurance, and all the things that the Cannabis Control Board has asked us to do. And that satisfied them to accept that, you know, oh, this is going to operate much like our local distilleries operate, much like our local bars operate. And so they were comfortable with that, to say, we see the level of regulation that you're going to have. We're okay with this.
What can you talk a little bit about the security requirements for a dispensary?
Yeah, so we're required to have audio and video recording, and retain those videos for a period of time.
How long, do you know?
It's about 90 days is how long we're supposed to hold them for. We're using a security company that Seacoast Security. They have their Mountain View Security here in Vermont.
Word up to Dave. Yeah.
Dave's working on some stuff for us, you know, around some video surveillance, some perimeter security, things like that. So, you know, we're looking towards, you know, we really want this to be secure. We really want this to be more work than it needs to be to come and try to take cannabis out of our storefront, take cash out of our storefront. You know, it's going to be a hassle for somebody to do it, especially when, you know, I can see on camera and talk to you through the camera, based with a perimeter alarm. So that type of thing is the level of security that we're looking at.
So are those guys, are they responsible for transporting money from like you to the bank?
No, so we're going to be doing transfers a different way.
Okay.
We're not really sure. We haven't come up with a cash management plan.
Yeah, you don't have to give me details on that, but
no, you don't want me to broadcast that through YouTube?
No, please don't. You do what you wish with your dollars, sir.
That's right.
I also had thought sort of the stuff going on with these banks, this merger between VSECU and NEFCU, where they're going to be charging people extra money for accounts.
Yeah,
I thought maybe it was also setting up a situation where people are going to just say, hey, maybe I'll take this $1 million and just bury it in the backyard. I'll pay my taxes in cash at the end of the year. It seems unnecessarily burdensome. Have you dealt with any of the banking issues yet?
So yeah, we're starting the onboarding process right now. Fortunately, we actually have a family connection into one of the banks that's funding the main department, the main cannabis industry. And so the 1%, 1.5% is actually industry standard. for these banks in Maine that are doing it. I can imagine Massachusetts does something else. I'm trying to think about it from a business standpoint and from their perspective. Do I think the 1% lasts forever? No, but I can see why they want to make a little bit of money on the side.
The bank, yeah,
the bank itself, I mean, just to cover their butts for federal tax laws, things like that.
They like making money. That's the thing about banks.
I mean, that's why they're in business, right? You don't go into business to give money away.
They provide a service, which is, I don't like to give a lot of credit to banks.
Nobody does.
But when you provide a service, you can charge what you want for that service.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was disappointed to hear that was industry standard. But we're gonna take it with a smile, and we're gonna cringe when they're not looking. So
hopefully they're not looking right now.
Right, exactly. But I mean, they've been great to deal with. I mean, they're a bank that's willing to work with the cannabis market in the gray area that we have. So
and I mean, there is some risk that they're taking on.
Absolutely. There is risk,
which is a legit argument that I hate to agree with, but sometimes bankers do make legit arguments, and that I thought was one of them.
Yeah. I mean, they are taking the risk, and we can't. I don't want to take the risk of having all that cash sitting in my store. I don't want to be doing a cash.
St. J, so. Yeah, I don't blame you.
I mean, anywhere. I don't think it would matter where you were, but I wouldn't want to be doing a cash business.
Can we talk about insurance a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Have you found some guys to do business with you in terms of insurance? And how has that gone?
So for years and years and years, my wife and I, and actually my family, has worked with NFP Insurance. They're an insurance broker here in Vermont.
What's that? NFP?
NFP, I don't remember what it stands for.
National fucking Protection.
Probably. I mean, that could be it. But it used to be Coolest Insurance is what it used to be. To name drop another ancient company from Saint Johnsbury. And so we just called them and said, hey, this is what we want to do. What products are out there? And so we hired a broker to go and look for those things for us.
So you had someone reach out to them on your behalf?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I learned really, really early on being a manager at a school is you can't do this all yourself. You have to assemble a team of people around you to help you pull this project off, or you won't be able to do it. And does it take time to find those people and find the right people? Yeah, it takes a lot of phone calls. It takes a lot of coffee meetings. It takes a lot of different things. And
don't I know it, buddy?
And that's the fun part for us, Leah and I. We have a great time meeting with people, meeting with growers. We've been to more farms than we can count. It's super fun. I love doing it.
Can I ask you about, I saw a post you made the other day. Can I ask you about some of the people that you're going to be featuring in your retail shop, hopefully?
Yeah. We're hoping, we haven't come up with contracts yet, but these are, I mean, the guys that we posted and the companies that we posted, I'm really excited about. So Nick and Angela over at Forbin's Finest. I mean, we want to feature their products. We love them. Angela's, from the area. So we're and, Nick from the area, we really want to support them. And, we want, I think they're arguably one of the best products on the market. And so we really want to feature them in the store. Bushy Beard is another great cultivator. I don't know them by first name. We haven't actually had a sit down meeting with Derek, and Brooke,
and his wife, Brooke.
Yeah.
Wonderful folks.
Yeah, we Aaliyah has known Brooke from a past friendship. So we got all kinds of interconnectedness there. But I had some of the blueberry muffin that he grew, and it was like eating a blueberry muffin.
Oh, the snozberries taste like snoz.
Right? Who else was there? Freedom Flower is a new one. I'm really excited to work with. I think his name's Caleb or Chris Chabot. Chris.
He was my second guest.
He was your second guest. His stuff's amazing. I really like his stuff.
Great
really
guy.
Excited about his seltzer. I don't know if he plugged that on your show. Really excited about carrying that.
No comment.
No comment. Hopefully going to get some Magic Man stuff in the store, things like that. Highly Rooted is
fourth
one.
guest. Yeah.
Highly Rooted is another one we're going to try to get in.
Michelle.
Really
yeah,
good.
Michelle and Troy.
Let's see.
What about the Lamoille County guys?
Lamoille County stuff is good.
I thought I saw one of them.
Yeah, we have, we've tried their gummy worms, their gummies and stuff like that. It's pretty potent stuff. So
are you intentionally supporting the Vermont brands?
Absolutely. I mean, I want to showcase Vermont products from every corner of the state. I don't just want to show, the Northeast Kingdom. We chose Northeast Kannabis with intention. Eventually, when the borders are all, broken down, when prohibition's finally taken down, Northeast is going to include what's the best from Maine, what's the best from New Hampshire, what's the best from Massachusetts, and that's going to be our brand. But we want to make sure that Vermont is a feature. I want to feature the best products in Vermont in our store. Local growers, micro growers, large growers, small cultivator or small manufacturers, who doesn't matter. I want people in the shop. I want to show the tourists, I want to show the people what we got in the state.
And now, what are you looking to do with your extraction line? You said some edibles.
Yeah.
What do you got in mind there, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so we've been fooling around with a lot of candy ideas. We've been playing with gummies, of course. I mean, everybody loves a good gummy. My wife is obsessed with gummy bears, with and without cannabinoids in them. Doesn't matter.
So she's smart too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to start there, because we know that that type of an edible is a pretty marketable product. We've played with chocolates. Those are obviously one of the easiest ones to do. Doesn't require a huge facility. But vaporizer cartridges, hash oil is one of the fastest growing products on the market nationwide. So that extraction process is really going to give us access to those hash oils in that way.
What about what was I going to say? Testing labs. Do you have a testing lab picked out in mind?
Not yet. And actually, I when we were on break, I ran out and grabbed the mail, and I actually got the first one. Here it is, right here. Got the first a flyer about a testing lab. So that's going to be put on my list. Being that we're not necessarily manufacturing to start off, it hasn't necessarily been a priority of mine.
Right. Okay. So yeah, if you're starting retail, so if you're doing retail, the product is already tested before it comes to you.
Correct. So we just got to pull it out of the box and put it on the shelf. That type of thing.
So are you going to be liable? Say you get a bag of moldy weed,
mm-hmm.
and you don't spot it.
Yep.
And it's come from a lab and it says this weed's good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Who is going to, because I'm a bartender. So like, if I get someone too drunk, everyone up the chain is liable.
Okay.
From the bartender to the manager to the owner, to pretty much any employee who's in the building at the time. Yeah. Is that going to be the same for cannabis? Do you know?
We don't know yet. And so I'll give you the process that we're going through to prevent that type of an event to happen.
Yeah, please.
So we're going to be taking inventory on a daily basis. We're going to be going through and looking at how's this jar, because it's all going to be, it's humidity control. It's all these different things that we're going to be actively doing to prevent a situation like that from happening. We're not going to have bales of product sitting in our vault not processed. That type of thing is just not going to occur. It's going to occur back at the manufacturing plant. So, there's lots of products out there. There's little things you can put in jars to keep them fresh. And
I've seen those. They're like little silica packs or something.
Yeah. So, there's lots of things out there that manufacturers can do to ensure product freshness. But yes, we're going to be looking for, on each day, is this still good? Is this
how long does a bag of weed last on a shelf? How long could an eighth of weed last on a shelf in a properly sealed container?
So it starts to lose THC after about 6 months. So as long as the weed is dry in a sealed container, it will keep indefinitely. It won't necessarily. But if you're gonna, if you have a jar sit there for 3 years, the chances of it still having THC.
Well, hopefully it's
are
not
low.
sitting there for 3.
Right. I mean, you've obviously lost it, or you locked it somewhere that you have no idea. And lost it.
Maybe it's not that good if it's sitting there for
Right.
3 years.
Maybe you should never buy that brand again. I don't know. I don't know why it would last that long, but I digress.
I helped you. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, those expectations around, handling of the products, I expect to come out closer to when the retail market actually, occurs, and to when those licenses come out.
And now those licenses are coming out start of September, right?
October.
No, I thought retail, they were going to start issuing them in September.
Oh, maybe they are. I thought you could only apply. The latest knowledge that I had was you could apply in September. They began issuing in October.
Okay. I have to look that up. It seems like they're leaving the retailers the least amount of time to get prepared for this.
I mean, for some retailers, they're going to be fine because they, we're in the CBD market. For somebody like me, I'm going to be running around like a crazy man. So, yay. All good. We'll get there when we get there.
Matt, this seems like a good place to wrap it. Do you have any final notes that you would like to add, or anything you'd like to plug, or anything of that nature you'd like to just throw in at the end of this?
I look forward to helping, those new users, the people that, have been waiting for this market to open up, the people that have said, it's something I've always been interested in. But I'm nervous about the quality. I'm nervous about the product. This is going to open a market that creates a really, really safe, a really, really controlled product, and it's going to take cannabis from a uncontrolled substance that it is now to a very controlled substance, which what it needs to be.
Great last note.
Perfect. Well, thanks for having me, Caleb. I really appreciate all the time. And I really appreciate you reaching out to me.
That's supposed to be my line.
Oh, sorry.
Pleasure having you, Matt. I wish you the best of luck, and please keep me posted. I hope we can follow up on this down the road.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Thank you.